fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes just for a little while. Now picture yourselves in a boat moving swiftly through a large body of water. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. You stop the boat and pull out a bottle of water, but the bottle is empty. Without a thought, you reach over the side of the boat and plunge your bottle into the water until it's full. Then, you raise it to your lips and take a sip. Now open your eyes. I have just painted you a picture of a very specific moment in time. Yet, as vivid as this picture was, I can guarantee you that not one person in the room pictured it the same way. Some of you may have been grossed out when you realized that you just drank a bottle of ocean water while sunbathing on the deck of a sailboat. Some of you might have been driving a powerboat, were probably similarly disgusted when you realized you were drinking the same water that you had been water skiing in earlier that day. Or maybe you were like me. You see, for me, that boat was a canoe. The body of water was one of the countless lakes in Minnesota's boundary waters. The bottle was an Algene, and the water was some of the cleanest on the planet. Just thinking about drinking it brings the call of a loon to my ears, the smell of pine to my nostrils, and the vision of the northern lights to my eyes. But that is simply my perspective of the story, and while all of our perspectives are different, none of them are wrong. Perception has always been a fascinating thing to me. And I think it goes back to childhood when I had a really short friend and I was tall. Because nature had made him shorter, he saw the world in a different way than I did. And it wasn't because of some imagined story that I just made. It was because he was born that way. When we would play basketball, he would see a much taller hoop than I would. When we built forts, mine would look much bigger to him than it would to me. So even though we would be looking at the exact same fort, we would be seeing two completely different forts. And it was all because of the different perspectives that we had. So my interest in perception grew kind of like a wildfire when I took Anthropology 101 in college. In this class, I learned of something called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, also known as linguistic relativity. In a nutshell, this hypothesis said that language is not just a series of words and grammar patterns that determine the way that we speak. It's much bigger than that. It actually affects the way that we think and perceive our own worlds. Now, some of you may have heard this before, but in Scandinavia, there's a people called the Sami, and they have hundreds of words for what we English speakers simply call snow. I know we're in LA, so some of you may have never seen snow or really can't imagine it at this time, but try to imagine waking up in the morning to a land covered in a thick blanket of snow. You play in it, maybe throw a couple snowballs at your little sister, and then you go to sleep. And during the night, there's another snowfall. You wake up again and see this blindingly white snow. Now to us, this snow is the same as it was the day before. But because the Sami have a completely different word for this snow, they see it in a different way. In fact, the world that they perceive with this new snow is completely different. And so, I know this is kind of hard to follow, and that's because really it's impossible to perceive the world the way that the Sami do. We may study their language, but we will never perceive the world as they do because our minds have been programmed differently linguistically. So quickly close your eyes again for a couple seconds and think of the first thing that comes to mind. All right, you can open them up. Gene, what did you think of?
A dog bowl, and I don't know why.
A dog bowl. Now, could you picture that dog bowl without actually thinking the word dog bowl?
No. I could, but I didn't in that case.
Right.
I think.
And so I think it's really hard to even think of something in your head without considering the word that represents that. Or if you think of something that you don't know the word for, in your head, you're going to be describing it in some way using the words that we've learned. And so you really can't escape. Your perception is kind of stuck in a certain way. Like if I thought of a monkey, I'm thinking of the word monkey. I might think of a specific monkey, but the word monkey is coming to my head. So, while these are examples of perceptions that are beyond our control, it's important to remember that there are plenty of perceptions that can be altered. I'm the kind of guy that usually sees the best in people. But have you ever met somebody and you really liked them, and then you found out something about them that completely changed your perception of them? Maybe you heard that they had an annoying laugh, and then all of a sudden that's all you heard from them. Or you found out that they smoked and you're not that kind of person, and then your perception of them and your opinion of them kind of dropped. Or on the other hand, maybe you didn't really like them at first, but then you found out that on the weekends they saved puppies from burning buildings. And it's not just about people. Sometimes you can read a book that changes the way that you think of food. Or you can visit a new place, a new country, a new city, and gain a newfound respect for the people in that place, or for the people where you came from. So for better or worse, these perceptions can change. And so I want to close this out by making an actual point instead of just bringing up something interesting. The way we perceive the world is as unique as our fingerprints. Not one is the same. Some of this is embedded in us and unchangeable due to our physical characteristics or linguistic relativity. For this, we should be grateful because it makes the world a very interesting place. Wouldn't it be terrible if we all saw the world in the same way? But we should also be grateful for the perceptions that we do have control over. We can choose to dismiss people and things that we perceive to be strange or different. Or we can choose to try to understand them. We don't need to change ourselves to be like them, but we can change our perceptions slowly and surely to see the world in a different light. Doing so could truly change the way we perceive the world, and in doing that, we would make the world a much better place to live in. So, the next time that you picture yourself drinking out of a water bottle, in a boat, in a large body of water, and the sun is shining, I vaticinate that picture will be just a little bit different. Thank you.